Have you ever wondered what it would take to build a school from scratch? I mean, one that's designed for today's world, but still deeply rooted in tradition? Well, that's exactly what the Global Islamic University is proposing in this strategic plan. We're going to break down their incredible blueprint for a whole new kind of global school network.
This whole massive plan really boils down to one powerful question. How do you actually build a school that successfully bridges tradition and the future? It's a huge challenge, and this ambitious plan is their answer.
So before we dive into the solution, we've got to understand the problem they're trying to solve. And it all starts with identifying a pretty critical gap that's widening in many communities across the Islamic world.
Here it is, the core challenge. There's this growing disconnect between traditional education and the skills you actually need to thrive in the 21st century. So the goal here is to create a system that can deliver top-notch STEM education, but, and this is key, one that's also woven together with Islamic ethics and values. And it has to be flexible enough to work for anyone, no matter where they are.
And that leads us right to the university's big idea, the hybrid school vision. This is their innovative model designed to tackle that challenge head-on.
So what in the world is a flexible hybrid model? Well, it's a simple but really powerful idea. You blend the best of both worlds. Just imagine a student learning, say, advanced coding theory through an amazing online platform during the week. But then, on the weekend, they go to a physical hub to team up with other students and actually build a real-world app. That's the whole concept. You get the efficiency of digital learning for the theory, combined with that crucial in-person, hands-on work for practical skills, and, just building a community.
And when you put the two approaches side by side, the advantages are just crystal clear. Traditional schools, they're often stuck in a rigid structure, they cost a fortune to run, and obviously, you have to be physically there. This hybrid model just flips that whole script. It lets students learn at their own pace, it dramatically cuts operational costs, and it makes a world-class education accessible literally anywhere you can get an internet connection.
Okay, but a great model is one thing, right? What are the students actually going to be learning? Let's take a look at the curriculum, because it's designed to be both comprehensive and really forward-thinking.
The curriculum itself is this really fascinating mix. On one hand, you got a huge emphasis on STEM fields, the skills of the future, but that's carefully balanced with traditional Islamic studies and ethics. And then they layer on top of that things like entrepreneurship and social sciences. See, the goal isn't just to pump out skilled technicians, but to nurture well-rounded leaders and innovators who can go out and build amazing new things.
All right, so you've got this powerful curriculum. Where do you launch it first? Well, the plan is super strategic here, targeting these 6 countries to start. And they weren't just picked out of a hat. They were chosen because they've got this perfect storm of opportunity and need. Large, young populations that are hungry for skills, growing economies that need a tech-savvy workforce, and of course, existing educational gaps that this hybrid model is perfectly suited to fill.
A great vision is one thing, but execution is everything. So let's look at how they plan to actually roll this out, step by step.
It's a pretty ambitious 24-month timeline, but it's also incredibly logical. They're not trying to boil the ocean here. The first 6 months, that's all about laying the foundation, planning, building partnerships, and locking in that curriculum. Then comes the real test, launching pilot programs in a few big cities to prove that the concept works. Only after that's done do they tackle the tougher challenge of expanding into rural areas with mobile tech. And it all wraps up with a final phase of evaluation and planning for what comes next. It's a classic crawl, walk, run strategy, and it makes a lot of sense.
And of course, technology is the absolute backbone holding this whole project together. They're planning to build a custom learning management system, an LMS. They're even going to use AI to create personalized learning paths for every single student. And to make sure no one gets left behind, they'll launch a mobile app that works in low connectivity areas and even use basic SMS for remote communication. Super smart.
Okay, this all sounds amazing and very ambitious, which leads to the big question, how is it all funded? And how does it keep going for the long haul? The plan tackles this head-on.
For that initial 2-year pilot phase, the proposed budget is $700,000. This is the seed money that's going to cover everything from the early planning and infrastructure right through to the actual launch of those pilot programs.
So let's see where that money goes. The biggest piece of the pie, $200,000, is going directly to the pilot launch and getting the right equipment. After that, you've got major chunks going to infrastructure, the tech needed for rural expansion, and of course, building that core learning platform. It's a really focused investment strategy.
But that seed money is just to get things off the ground. What about the long game? Well, the plan outlines a whole strategy to make sure this thing can stand on its own 2 feet.
We're talking about a low-cost tuition model with plenty of scholarships, building partnerships with private companies, generating income from vocational courses, and even running global crowdfunding campaigns. The end goal here is total financial independence.
You know, when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one clear mission. This entire massive project is laser-focused on a single outcome: to empower a new generation with the tech skills, the innovative spirit, and the ethical framework they need to go out and build a better future.
And that leaves us with a final really big thought. Sure, this plan was designed for a specific context, but the principles behind it, they're universal. It really makes you wonder, could this kind of hybrid model be the future of education? Not just in the Islamic world, but for everyone, everywhere?